Despite the Knicks being down by 20 at one point in this game, Jalen Brunson having 5 fouls in the fourth quarter, Karl Anthony Towns having 5 points in this fourth quarter, and the Pacers at home looking like they're just going to walk their way to a 3-0 lead. The Knicks led by Karl Anthony Towns, who had a 20-point plus fourth quarter performance, and giving big minutes to guys like Landry Shamet and DeLon Wright. The Knicks were able to get back and eventually win this game. 100-106 was the final score. It's a 2-1 series now, and I would tell you, man, I am the first person to say I am surprised by the resilient effort of this Knicks team. At halftime, it really looked like this team, it amazed me how this team, I was asking myself, how did this team make the conference finals against Boston, despite the Tatum injury, of course? How did they win 2 games against the defending champions? This team did not look good at all, and in that second half, and really what Reggie Miller was saying a lot on the telecast or the broadcast, telecast, whatever you want to say. Am I dating myself by saying that? They were able to fight back into this game those last few minutes of the second quarter. It was a 20-point lead at one point in time for the Pacers, and the Knicks cut it down to 13, and that's really where this game changed. In that first half, like I said, Indiana ended up leading by 13 points. In that first quarter, it was pretty close between both teams. The Knicks did not have a turnover in that first quarter, and in that first quarter, it just looked like, despite the Pacers not getting any lucky breaks in terms of, turnovers or anything like that from the Knicks, they were able to play pretty well, and they move the ball so well. It is so fun to watch their offense, especially when they're creating turnovers and they're wrecking the game, a lot of havoc and stuff like that. They were able to get themselves off to a nice lead. In that second quarter is where they built that 20-point lead entirely. A 29-9 run to get them to that mark, and man, it was insane. When you're watching the Pacers crowd mixed with how the Pacers team plays, it makes a lot of sense why they're such a good home team. Their attitude and their effort and their intensity, it is infectious from the fans, going back into the players and then giving it back to the fans. It just it cycles back and forth the whole game. They're both getting each other so hype and both performing at a high level. And I'm talking about the fans, but yes, the fans helped a lot. At one point in time, Tyrese Halliburton, he was having a really, really good first half in terms of just moving the ball and spreading it throughout. They got a few steals, and it led to some great plays. I remember one time there was Halliburton, Shepard, and Obi Toppin running the floor. A lob up top to Obi Toppin. Why not get this place rocking at home? And kind of felt like there was like a stomach punch in the first half, and it kind of felt like a dagger in the first half. TJ McConnell, he was playing absolutely out of his mind, which is insane to say, but I mean, TJ McConnell is a pretty good playoff riser. He was going stupid in that first half. I think he had 10 points immediately off the bench in that first half, maybe even 12. He was doing his thing, and it kind of seemed like this team really had it going. Then they turned it over a few times, and even with the foul troubles, Jalen Brunson had 4 fouls, I believe, entering this second half. This Knicks team put Landry Shamet and DeLon Wright out there for a long time, and Deuce McBride only played 1 minute in that first half. So you're thinking, wow, you're not getting anything from Deuce either. You might as well throw in PJ Tucker or Precious Achiuwa at this point, right? Tibbs was just trying shit. But in that third quarter, they were able to get this game down into manageable distance, right? Throughout the third quarter, it was 15-16 the whole time. The Knicks would score, but then the Pacers would score, or the Knicks would get a stop, but then the Pacers would get a stop. So it was they were mirroring each other, they were matching each other, but they were able to get it to manageable. If you can get it from anywhere from 10 to 14 or 13, entering that fourth quarter, you have a chance. And in that fourth quarter, things turned on its head. I can't remember if it was in the fourth quarter or not, but Landry Shamet was guarding Obi Toppin in the post, and he ended up drawing a charge, and that was a huge momentum play in terms of energy, and that coming from Landry Shamet, it's just insane, right? You think of Landry Shamet being in the league still, you're like, okay, but he's been balling with their G League team, and he gets a chance to play in the playoffs, and he was doing pretty good in terms of just his energy his effort, his hustle. Another guy who brought his A game in the fourth quarter. I'll say one more after this, but Josh Hart, he looked non-existent this game. And coming off the bench, Tibbs tried a different lineup, started Mitchell Robinson, which for defensive purposes makes sense, right? And it kind of worked. And not the Knicks, the Pacers only scored 100 points in this game. But Josh Hart coming off the bench, it just didn't really seem like the regular Josh Hart that we know. And then in this fourth quarter, he was rebounding like a madman, and he was bringing a bunch of defensive hustle and effort and making great plays, just being a smart guy. And Josh Hart was able to help this team getting back into this game. And then really the biggest reason why they got back in this game was Karl-Anthony Towns. 20 plus points in a fourth quarter for a guy who's not known as being a playoff performer. Last year he, had stretches at times where he was pretty good, but sometimes it didn't really look like Cat made any strides in terms of his game offensively. Defensively, he's still not good at all, and he was getting kind of picked on in this game at points, but that quarter from him was so huge. He was driving to the rim, and then he hit a couple threes. Stan Van Gundy was talking about he doesn't like the deep threes from Cat. I can understand that, but forcing a timeout, Cat hit a deep three, and I thought he kind of got clobbered on it. Maybe he just fell down, but it was a deep three behind a screen, and that really was just insane. He had that dunk on Andrew Nembhard plus the foul to give them the lead, I believe. Cat was just fantastic in this fourth quarter, and they didn't play Jalen Brunson until there was about 2 minutes left in this game, which was extremely surprising. But Miles McBride was doing his thing. Deuce was holding it down. He only played 1 minute in that first half, like I said, but that second half he was phenomenal, hitting shots, getting to the rim. He got blocked on a dunk by Pascal Siakam. They called the foul. I think maybe Pascal got body first, that's why they called it, but it did look like a clean block up top. And I thought, wow, like he's just getting to the line. He knocked down clutch free throws. Like he was doing it all for them. He was making great defensive rotations. The Knicks fourth quarter defensive rotations were insane. Halliburton gets a screen. They're able to get through the screen. They're able to cover the Turner pop, which is so lethal. They're able to recover if the Turner pop isn't covered in time. They were just able to do everything they needed to do offensively or defensively, which makes you wonder, like, where was this in the previous games? OG Anunoby, there was a possession where Nesmith, who twisted his ankle, I think in that third quarter, but ended up coming back and playing in the fourth. Thankfully he's okay. He tries to go right at OG Anunoby and tries to muscle him, and OG wasn't having any of it. Sends his shot, talking a little shit after, which I've never seen OG Anunoby talk shit in my life. So there was a lot of energy coming from this team. The bench guys did their jobs, and Tibbs, now he looks like a genius. He never plays the bench. He's never trust them, but he did today, and it ends up paying off. You get late game in that fourth. I believe Tyrese Halliburton hit a deep three to regain the lead, a 1 point lead. And then he had a mid-range, which I think he needs to shoot more mid-ranges. He comes off the screen, and he's looking either for a drive. If they go under, he's looking for a three. If he drives and the drive's not there, he's looking for Turner. Just take more mid-ranges. They would help his game a lot, but that's besides the point. The offensive execution from the Pacers in the fourth quarter was not good, and the Knicks have a large part to do with that. I will say the one thing that worked for him was just giving Pascal Siakam the ball, isolating mid-block, low block, left side is really where he likes to operate, and he was doing a really good job. He had a few tough shots. I think he's probably their best offensive player in terms of just give me the ball and get out the way. Tyrese is also really good. They have a lot of great offensive players, right? But Pascal, their only source of offense in the fourth quarter, and with how this Pacers team plays where everybody touches the ball, that's not what you want. You don't want a guy just isolating mid-block. It is nice to have one who can do it, but that's not how the Pacers have made themselves 2 games away from a conference finals. So the Knicks, man, that's an impressive performance. Game 4, we're still going to be in Indiana for that one, but it's going to be a fun one to watch. And, Brunson had a bad game in terms of his efficiency and his defense. I don't know that you can guarantee that's going to happen again. Defensively, maybe, but offensively, he's not going to shoot as bad as he did today. So, if he's able to come out with that, that regular Brunson mentality and give you 30, 35, maybe even 40, 50. Brunson's an insane scorer. The Pacers better be careful, man, with the newfound rotations and Tibbs kind of just saying, hey, like, defenders, go out there, defend. and then we'll mess up their rhythm. We'll throw Brunson out there; he can score. If Cat can play that good again in any of these games moving forward, I believe we have a real series that can go to 7. And I'd still probably pick Pacers in 7 because they do have a 1-game advantage now. But I can see this going Knicks in 7 or Pacers in 7. Or 6 for either team, but we'll see. A beautiful game, a great game, and a really fun game to watch, especially after last night's blowout, which I wasn't able to watch. But yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't get to watch that one. But Thunder and the Wolves tomorrow. That'll be a good one as well. This was a phenomenal game. This series has been amazing and has lived up to the hype thus far. So yeah, they'll be back in New York in Game 5, and if they can take care of business in Indianapolis again, man, this might be shaping up to be the best series in the playoffs. So yeah, that was a great game. Let me know what you guys thought, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.